Hi, it's Nikolai here, creator of the ABC OpenFace Chinese app and occasional book news author on OpenFace strategy. A lot of you have asked how I play my hand, so what I've been doing over the past month or so is recording some matches with friends and explaining what I'm going on through the matches. So actually, usually people ask, how do you start the hand? How do you set your first five cards? Included after this are 10 sample hands where I explain why I made the moves I made. Some of them worked out, some of them didn't. Mostly this is the right move. Some of them may not be. So enjoy, check it out, and let us know in the comments, which moves you understood, which ones you didn't, which ones you liked, which ones you didn't like, and what you'd like to see next. It takes a while to get an example of any sort of set. I mean, as you know, OpenFace with Pineapple has almost an infinite number of variations, but there are definitely themes that come up. So we've addressed some of them in the next 10 hands below, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts. Okay, so for this hand, I'm going to do something, you know, fairly straightforward. There may be a better move, but I'm just going to put three spades on the bottom to go for a flush, a 10 in the middle to try to pair it or maybe make a smaller flush, and then a king up top to maybe make a pair of kings. So, the hand will sort of adjust based on what you see, what you have, and what I get, but I'm trying to make a flush on the bottom, something like a couple of pairs in the middle, and kings up top. That's what my goal is. Okay, so this hand is, I think, pretty straightforward. You know, you got to go for fantasy land. The 8-7 is good enough on the bottom. We're not necessarily trying to make a straight here. We just want to make something. Okay, so I guess kind of an interesting open. There's two basic ways to play this. One is a sort of a standard full house and wheel cards in the middle play, right? So we've all seen that. The other one is something like this. Um, I don't really like the ace on top here. I mean, some people play it allergically. I do play it sometimes, but the 2-4 of spades is a nice straight flush, but the straight flush really works well in the bottom. But if you look at this, I mean, this is just completely out of order. So yeah, I'm out of order here. We'll regret it sometimes, but what I like about this move is two things. One is that we can make that wheel in the middle, and I know it doesn't seem like it happens often, but it's really not at all a zero. And sometimes you get backed in a corner, and it's not even the percentage you make, but the fact that you have that out. Um, I was about to say the other thing that's interesting is our odds of making a full house with the 8-8-4 in the bottom versus just the 8-8 empty are pretty much the same. So this also gave us a chance to pull a live card and put that in the bottom. It is what it is. So next hand. So here, this is something I sort of learned from a study a while ago. But again, same thing, straight flush, always a straight flush. It's nice to play the full house because that's more points, but with the arrangement, then you end up with a goofy middle. You end up sort of making your pairs out of order, etc., etc. Straight flush is never a bad hand. Okay, so is that what I'm going to do here? Really? I guess so. Always trying to look for that straight flush, but ace in the middle, king up top is a pretty dominant position. Hard to beat it. So my hand's a little bit simpler. I'm going to put two clubs in the bottom to maybe go for a flush, an ace and a five, which is going to either make a pair of, aces or something like that, and the queen up top, just to have that big card up top. Ideally I make like a pair of aces in the middle, a pair of queens up top. Pretty standard hand. In these first few sets, we took a look at some spots where once you arrange the hand, there's a clear best move. Now we're going to move on to sort of more complicated decision making. With these, I'm not even sure that I made the right move, but I do explain why I made it, and hopefully that's insightful as well, because if we only focus on easy decisions, that's not really the whole game, is it? I have an interest. I have a bit of a decision. So, on the one hand, it's a very powerful paradigm to play live full house, pair and a live card on the bottom, having seen your opponent's cards. So this is 50-50 to make a full house. On the other hand, then my middle is kind of weak, right? Because this is no good. Yeah, this is no good because I want to have the jack that's live or the three that's live on the bottom. The flush is it's pretty good odds. It's at least 2/3 of the time I'm gonna make the flush. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. The odds sort of vary. The if you all you care about is will I get the flush, it's really good odds. It's like 80%. But in the course of the game, sometimes other things happen. But even if it's 2/3, realistically, we might want to play some other heart somewhere, or have to play another card, or blah 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 blah. We're 2/3 just to make the flush, and sometimes we'll have chances to do other things. Like if we catch two jacks, we'll play that right away, right? So it's a pretty solid bottom. Okay, so this is a hand where some people get tripped up. It's very tempting to do things like this or like that, trying to make fantasy land with a king somehow, but it's just not worth it. It just doesn't work. If the jack and the three were even remotely close, I'd probably do this, and this might still be the right move with a jack and three in the middle. But you're definitely putting the kings on the bottom. Just a full house or quads is just worth a lot, and it's not just worth a lot because it's good point bonus, but it makes it very easy to play the hand. Like if we get queens, we can put them on top with confidence, since it's very easy for us to make two pair in the middle. In this case, I'm going to do this with a three on the bottom. It slightly increases my full house chances, not really by much, but if I get a pair, I'd rather put it in the middle, but I still might make something like three jacks, or I don't know. Like I said, if the jack and three could somehow make a straight or a flush, I'd keep those together. And I'm not well, and made fantasy land. So the thing to do against Fantasyland is usually to try to go for Fantasyland yourself. The alternative here is something like this, where you can have a high probability of making a flush, and then still leave yourself some upside and some opportunity. I'm actually kind of tempted to do this, a king high flush. I mean, this might even be the right move, actually. I mean, a king high flush is pretty likely to win the bottom and avoid the scoop. We're not taking any risk here, but this is not a bad setup for going to Fantasyland, so we'll give it a shot. Okay, so we have a wheel here, obviously. That has to be our baseline. That's pretty good. We can play the middle with ease. We can play the rest of it with ease. What's our alternative, right? So just the ace like this isn't that appealing. We'll have to use another ace to finish the bottom, or a six. It's too vulnerable. The question is, this is really the only alternative. But I don't like it because look at all the middle cards we get that we can't use unless they're spades. So, to sort of hurry this up, let's just play the wheel. I don't always make this move, but, it's not about the wheel being good or bad. It's about what is our alternatives. And here our alternatives ain't that great. And as where they would have been great, but what are you going to do? And there it is. That wraps up our 10 hands of open face. A lot of content there in just a few minutes. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'm very curious to hear what your thoughts are. Please leave us a comment and tell us what other kind of hand you'd like to see next. It takes a while to create some of these hands because none of these hands are artificial. They come up randomly in the game. So, you have to record hours and hours to maybe find the spot that you want. But the common themes happen pretty often. You'll see them at least a couple times in a 20 hand match or 100 hand match. So we're very interested to know what are the spots that are interesting to you. And maybe if you have a screenshot from your hand, go ahead and post it. Can't hurt. Thank you.